Bend tests are stupid, and that's the painfully honest truth. Hey there, friends on YouTube. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech so honest it hurts. This is your first time here. Thanks for being here. And if it's not, all that stuff, let's get into the business. Today on Painfully Honest Truth, I want to talk about bend tests. We've had bend tests all the way back to when Lou from Unbox Therapy just blew his channel up, showing that you could bend the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus. That bend test was actually pretty valuable because Apple used aluminum that was just too soft, and when you put your phone in your pocket, etc., it would bend. That is not a good thing. I agree totally with that particular bend test because it proved that what had been reported out in the wild was actually occurring, and Godspeed to Lou. There he went, jettisoning off to the stratosphere of YouTube. But since then, bend tests have been sort of a mixed bag, I'm going to say. A mixed bag of nuts. Well, I always wondered what a mixed bag is, and I guess it's probably nuts. I don't know. You get a little bit of good, you get a little bit of bad. That sounds like nuts to me. Anyway, since that iPhone 6 Plus bend test, it seems like folks have been doing bend tests of every single phone that's been released since that time. Most people seem to focus on iPhones. Everything Apple Pro is, of course, an Apple channel, and he does bend test and drop test and shoot the thing with guns and all that kind of stuff. So he goes through a battery of tests, and Zach from Jerry Rig Everything, he typically goes through and tests every phone. And the last thing that he tends to do is bend the phone. Now, a phone is something that I guess if you're going to put it in your pocket, you want to know if it's going to bend. However, in this day and age, since 2016 maybe, most phones have been made out of glass. I think it's pretty easy to say that if you bend your glass phone, it's going to break. That's pretty much eliminated the need for bend tests, but yet they still persist. Phones have gotten more durable over time. The quality of phones has gotten better over time. So in the past couple of years, the need for a bend test has really been eliminated. Apple was found to be lying about whether or not they knew that the iPhone 6 Plus could bend, and I'm glad that they were outed for that issue. Where it's really started to get ridiculous is people bending the new iPad. I don't know anyone who would ever put themselves in the position to just like... Now, Zach from Jerry Rig Everything, he says that there are a couple of places where this might be valuable to know that the iPad will basically fold up like a piece of paper. One is if you put it in your backpack. The other is if you put it on the couch and somebody sits on it. The former, I feel like an iPad is not going to be the only thing in a backpack. So the backpack is going to be more rigid and the iPad will benefit from that. That's probably a non-issue. Now, for the latter, someone sitting on your iPad because you left it on a chair, on the couch, something like that, if you leave your iPad on the couch and grandma sits on it and breaks it in half, then that's on you. We don't need to break one just to show you that, yes, if you leave it on the couch for someone to sit on, it will in fact break. I think most people could understand that concept. Maybe it would be worthwhile to test older iPads to see if they bend. Okay, so let's test it out. Here I have iPad 1, the very first iPad, 16 gigabytes, and it's pretty darn, it's built like a tank, I'd have to say. Will it bend? Let's try it. I heard it crackling, but it didn't bend. This is a super light device. It's very thin. It might not be structurally sound in the same way that phones are structurally sound, but to go to the point of bending it in half just to prove that it can be bent in half seems a little extreme. Now, I realize that YouTube is a place where everybody is trying to get views. I'm trying to get views. They're trying to get views. Everybody wants to get views. And bending an iPad, I suppose, will get you views. Are we now going to do bend tests on laptops? I'd love to see how the MacBook Air fares in a bend test. I'd love to see how the MacBook fares in a bend test. I have a feeling they might also bend. Maybe not as spectacularly as the iPad, but they are thin and light devices as well, and so thin and light devices might be more subject to bending. But at this point, it's become sort of silly season. We just need to stop bending things. I think the point has been made. If you put your device in a position where it might just bend, then that's on you. That's on you. And we don't need to go around destroying devices to keep you from being stupid, do we? Bend tests themselves are stupid, and we should just dispense with the whole thing right now. I don't want to see any more bend tests. Again, who's going to take an iPad and just go and bend it in half? Nobody. There may be a couple of places where an iPad might bend, but I don't think it's ever happened in the wild, and I don't think there's any reason to expect it to. Am I wrong? Am I missing some great rash of bent iPads that we need to now be aware of? Is it something that's been a quiet issue for a while now, and we need to ramp up public knowledge so that everybody can stop bending their iPads? Can we all just agree that devices may have structural issues that will cause them to bend or break given a certain scenario? Bend tests may have had their time, they may have had their place, but that time and place is over now. And to me, bend tests are just stupid. And that is the painfully honest truth.